Hello, we are live for the Xander Gibb show. We are in pre-production mode. We're just sharing the live streams so people know where we are. And if you want to share the live streams too, you can click that share button, the one that you guys don't like to press, because I think you think there's a share button tax, but there isn't. And sharing it will bring you untold riches and glory, but not here on earth. Oh no, siree. In heaven, you'll be storing up your riches in glory in that Giza called Christ Jesus, because we are doing God's work here at the Xander Gibb Show, and that is not a joke. We are very serious when we say that we are doing God's work. Let's share the show. There we go. So the feeds can fill. And we just need to get the YouTube link, because I know some of you like to watch the show on YouTube to see my wonderful, beautiful face in glorious Technicolor on your TV screens. I'm clicking on the link, and we are getting a welcome to everyone who's joining the feeds right now. We will indeed be starting any minute now. Don't forget our drinking game, because I'm reliably informed that I do say the phrase, oh yes, siree, quite a lot. Now, if you don't want to wait for me to say the phrase, oh yes, siree, what you can do is you can drink as much as you like. I wish I could. And when this show is over, I'm sure I'll be downing a couple of whiskeys in order to chillax. I was going to say in this pandemic, but apparently the pandemic is over now. So what do you call planned looting? So we've gone from planned looting to a plandemic, which is a very kind of interesting ideology, to say the least. Hi, Susan Miller, our first person in the live feed. I'm just going to do the sharing on Facebook. Let's hope it is a simple thing to do this time, because sometimes you have to do it in 50 different times. And this is one of those times. So let's see if when I come back it will let me. Let's close the app and come back to it and see if it lets me share. I hope you're all clicking that share button out there. We are going to be starting in the next couple of minutes. Gosh, it doesn't want to let me do it today. So I'm just sharing this. The reason they do it like this, usually you can go boom, 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 like that to share it to groups. But when they see that it's little Xander Gibb, conservative commentator, trying to share things, they don't want me to be able to do it that quickly. But what would help is if you could share it out there. That would be very helpful. This is why we start a little earlier, so we can get the show shared to different pages and make sure that people know that we're here and we are making a difference, and that we are trying to make America great again. Takes forever when you have to do it this way. Why can't you make my life simple, Facebook? But I suppose that wouldn't be Facebook. Thank you for sharing, Susan. We will be getting going in just 1 minute. Hi to Keith. Welcome to the show. Click that share button now, which is what I am doing. When things get wonderful again, I will be hiring someone to do all the sharing and the production, and so basically all I will have to do is sit and talk and write the show and all of those things, all of the things that I'm good at, because I really hate this this part of it. But if you don't share the show, nobody comes to watch, and it's just me and Susan and the other faithful followers. We are nearly there. I'm just going to share it to a few more pages, and then we can get started. Oh yes, 3. Just 1 or 2 more. And then we can get this party started. Don't feel like partying, do you guys? Hi, Dave. Welcome to the show. We will be starting in just a little moment. I think we're nearly there. That will do us. Okay, so hello, welcome everybody. Happy Thursday to you too, Dave, and to everybody else in the live feed. You are listening to the Xander Gibb Show. We're going to go to the opening titles in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no rifts. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate. Well, hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandermonium Network, live from an undisclosed location in the nation's capital, bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nightly, quite rightly. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's show, I get on my soapbox and give you the opportunity to get on yours too in our phone-in. My guests today include Peter Boykin from Go Right News, who'll be dropping by, and in part 2, my buddy Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck drops by to break down today's hottest topics. You can have your say in the feed below, down there. Yep, down there. And as usual, I will be sharing your commentary as we go. And so keep it a little clean, please. So you can call in when we get to that section, 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. And if you're in the UK, 0208-133-527 the numbers are there. There we go. And you can follow me on social media and even Twitter now. And check me out at xandergibb.com. And you can sign up there for the weekly newsletter. We won't bother you more than once a week, just to tell you what's going on and all the news about the show. Let me come to the live feed to say hello before I start the opening monologue. Hi to CV. Welcome to the show. Hello to Kate Kruger. Hello to Chet Martin, who is our guest in part 2. Chet says, CV keeps asking about Pizzagate. Can you not talk about pizza, please? Because it really does make me hungry. Hello to my Gina. Welcome back to the show. We're gonna get myself a new brain, I think. So we're going to do soapbox now because Hillary's press secretary, Brian Fallon, today made the statement on Twitter about defunding the police. The 2020 Democrat agenda is clear. Defund the police. Take your guns, cheer on the rioters and looters who burn your city. It's like Mad Max at the Thunderdome brought home to America. And my teleprompter is laying an egg again, which is concerning. Yes, it is like Mad Max at the Thunderdome. Tell me, if there is no police, who do you call when they break into your home? A crackhead? Get a damn grip, people. This is not the way it is going to be. Now, so many celebrities, Democrat politicians, and media personalities are choosing to excuse, ignore, and even fund in some cases and glorify the violence that's happening on our streets like it isn't real, like it's a movie that's playing out in someone else's backyard. Now, the seriousness of this issue is that it's happening in everyone's backyard, even in London. Residents and citizens alike want to stop the violence, but those who hate America clearly want it to carry on. Now, George Floyd's brother even said, don't tear up your town. All of this is not necessary because if his own family and blood is not doing it, then why are you? Now, the Democrats have already swooped in and got support for Sleepy Joe, and I'm guessing that the family has passed Joe Biden's blackness test. Now, the hypocrisy of it all is most alarming. So in other news, non-political news, a royal astrologer, Debbie Frank, reveals that Harry and Meghan can expect their marriage and life in general this year to be altered after officially stepping back from the royal family. In her exclusive Hello column, she wrote, part of Meghan's raison d'etre is communication, and she needs to be a voice. And as Uranus activates her power of communication, she needs to make herself heard. Uranus, indeed. That really did make me laugh. And if you need to laugh, you can follow me on TikTok and check out the funny stuff that I'm doing on there too. That was my soapbox for today. If you would like to get on your soapbox, you can go to xandergibb.com/contact. That's xandergibb.com/contact, and tell us what you're thinking, and we will get you on the Xander Gibb Show. So we have time for a couple of calls, but let me just come back to the chat room. Hello to Mike. Welcome to the show. Chet says, defund Antifa. Dave says, sorry, CV, I was making a joke. I didn't know if you like pizza. We all like pizza, but stop talking about it because I'm broadcasting and I'm not allowed to eat while I'm broadcasting. I'm fine. I'm composed. Chet also says, defund the DNC. I agree totally. Hello. Keith says, Democrats are literally the nation's most dangerous enemy right now. We need fellow citizens to wake up. The problem is some of them hate this country, and that won't change. Well, do you know what? I agree with you, Keith, and they should go and live somewhere else. Susan Miller says the Dems support them with millions now that they are labeled domestic terrorist group. Feds can go after them. I think she's talking about Antifa, and I agree, the feds do need to go after them. After them, CV says, communists who want to defund the police must be advocating a gun on every belt. Yes, exactly. Because who do you call? You know, and you can't call Ghostbusters because they're not real. Sorry to break it to you guys, but Ghostbusters are not real. No, chat, I'm not repeating that comment. Dave says, didn't Barr, the head of the Marshal Service, say they're not going after them today, and they also arrested a bunch of Jumbo Jojo, or whatever the black militant group is called. I heard today that Hillary lost her appeal and does have to appear in court. So there you go, Hillary. You're not as important as you thought. Susan says, Black Lives Matter is the group. They are Antifa's puppets. So that is your comments. How about you call us 845-363-4747 if you are in the United States. But if you're in the UK, you can call us on 0208-121-335274. That's 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. And if you're in the UK, 0208-133-5274. No matter how much they're telling you that everything is okay over here, they were outside the Houses of Parliament today protesting. Black Lives Matter UK. Now, I'm going to make this statement publicly. I can't support Black Lives Matter. I don't want anybody to be killed, but I cannot support an organization called Black Lives Matter that only cares about black people that get killed either by white people or police officers. What about the black on black crime? Nobody is talking about that in this country. Hi, Maria. Welcome to the show. Give us a call, 845-363-4747, or if you're in the United Kingdom, 0208-133-5274. I don't know why when I talk about the UK, I slip into this British accent when I would rather be impersonating Boris Johnson than saying, don't go and have sex in someone else's house or we'll fine you £100, because I'm not getting any right now because my wife just had a baby. Sorry, correction, my girlfriend. So why should anybody else in the UK be able to have sex right now? Yes, they are crazy days. Chat. And Susan is saying, thank you for the truth. That's what we're here for. We're here to tell the truth because the mainstream media has been so poisoned and corrupted, like CNN, to the extent where you can't believe anything that you see on there or anything that you read. So we got time for a couple of calls. Who's going to be brave enough to call 845-363-4747? That's if you're calling from the United States. But if you're calling from the UK, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. I saw a couple of celebrities in the UK today saying, I don't even want to talk about the rioting and looting because there's going to be an element of rioting and looting and it's acceptable. Well, I tell you what, let's get your address to Black Lives Matter UK and then they can come and riot and pillage at your house. How does that sound? I think that's absolutely fair, given what they're saying. Let's send the Antifa rioters to John Legend and Chrissy Teigen's place to loot and riot in their living room. Let's see how they respond to that. Susan says they are here again in Manhattan by my place. It's a worry. And while the police are still having their hands tied by stupid public officials like Bill de Blasio, who is too busy protecting his Antifa daughter, it is a worry. But I think that ultimately the police union are going to step in very soon and say, you're putting our members at risk. So either you let them do their job or they won't be going out at all to police the streets, which I think is terribly sad. But surely the safety of the public is being compromised by the fact that the police can't do their job to the standard that they should be. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that ultimately idiots like Cuomo and de Blasio. They couldn't run a race, but they've put them in charge of a city and a state. And it's clear that these two hate each other, but not enough to kind of bring them down. I know there's a petition right now to get de Blasio gone, and I hope it is successful, because when I'm finally able to come back to New York, I don't want these commie bitches in charge of my city and my state, because I think that I, as a New Yorker, and the rest of my fellow New Yorkers deserve a better deal. Susan says they're calling for serious help here, store owners and residents says. Chet says, F you, blank, blank, John Legend and his hooker wife. Yeah, I kind of agree with that sentiment. When they were so gleeful that they gave that £200,000 to bail out Antifa terrorists, basically, that got arrested, what does that say about these people that are putting up this kind of money? Joe Biden was out there at the weekend doing it. When are we going to get tough? That's what I want to know. Big Bag Don, wants to protect Americans, but, he's made out to be a bad person just because he wants to protect American citizens. So how many people have to die for this liberal epithet, for this liberal ideology of the fact that we have to go softly, softly because their feelings are hurt? The more I hear about the death of George Floyd, because it's like this, it's like a flower, it's opening up. And let me make it clear to you, I'm sad that he died, and I don't think anybody should die in that situation or any other. But he was under the influence of fentanyl when he was arrested. They can't say when he ingested it, but he did, and there was another drug in his system as well, which they're saying could have contributed to his heart attack. And whilst the cops should not have used that restraint method, I think they're going to have to look into this a lot deeper. But I want to separate that from the riots and the pillaging and the looting that's going on, because I think the two are totally separate issues as far as I'm concerned. Dave says, why don't these celebs and Jack from Twitter spend more money to help the small businesses their riots destroyed? I agree. Chet says New York is a lost cause. I think it's a lost cause because of the leadership there right now, and ultimately, if you take away that leadership and get rid of these radicals, because that's what they are. They're radicals and they're communists. We have a call. We have a call. If it goes through. And what's
Yes, live from New York City.
Hi there, how are you? You're live on the Xander Gibb Show. What would you like to share with us?
Can you hear me okay briefly here? Because I know you got guests coming on.
Absolutely.
Today they were at it. They were at it again today down by my place, Xander. Helicopters in the sky. Same stuff, chanting the crap. And I'm pretty upset over it. I just found out that in Midtown, and one of them is my pharmacy, up in Midtown, they're actually begging for retired policemen, security people to please come on board and help protect their businesses, their pharmacies, their residential areas, because they're getting hit very bad. It's gotten to the point where when you have to do that because of the mayor holding back on the NYPD, it's getting out of hand, Xander. It's really getting out of hand. I mean, the other boroughs are lucky; they're not getting touched at all. Maybe a little bit. They're getting their strays. But if anybody comes in and takes a ride through downtown and Fifth Avenue, you're going to be shocked.
Right.
So. That's the latest from here, Xander.
So tell me, this is Susan Miller here, who is the roving reporter and is usually out on the streets talking to people and finding out exactly what's going on. What difference will it make for retired cops to come and help if the ones that are there are not being allowed to do their jobs properly?
I didn't hear you too well, hon, but I'm thinking I'm usually on the streets. I'm usually, reporting, interviewing. I've talked to a lot of the NYPDs, Xander.
Right.
And they're very frustrated, very frustrated. One of them actually broke down, and I hugged him because I love my NYPD. They understand, that this George, he was not handled properly. He's been arrested, but this is getting out of hand. The Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. They're whipping up stuff, and Antifa comes in, texts them that they go riot and loose. They're not fooling anybody.
No.
They are a terrorist group. They've not been labeled domestic terrorists. I'm not saying, and I reiterate, I am not.
We lost you there, Susan. Are you still there? No. I think we lost Susan from NYC. Make sure you follow her on Facebook. I see she's there, but I can't hear a word she's saying. But if you want to try and call back very quickly, Susan, we will take a call for another couple of minutes. In fact, let's just it's not letting me do it. Let's just call her back and give her one more minute before we bring on our first guest. If we can get her to pick up, I guess it's not happening. Let me come back to the chat room. Here we are. She's calling back. Let's just see if we can hear her for a little minute. Are you there, Susan? Hello? Nope. I guess that's not happening. Thanks for calling anyway, Susan. Let's see what people are saying. Hello to Swoop. Chet says De Blasio needs an ass whooping. Yeah, I wonder if he's going to get that. Dave says, yeah, Chet, from what I see, he is an incompetent fool. Yes, indeed, he is. So I'm going to start the... going to get rid of one of these. There we go. For some reason, it keeps opening up a second version of Skype. So my first guest, who should be joining us any minute, is Peter Boykin from Go Right News and Gays for Trump. Now, in 2016, Peter fundraised to pay for several billboards during the Trump campaign's road to victory. He's going to be joining us now from the USA and should be calling us any second to discuss some of today's hottest topics. Yeah, I agree, Chet. Who the hell would want to be a cop in today's climate? I just wonder how many cops have to... What about Cop Lives Matter? There you go. I think that we need to start an organization called Cop Lives Matter in order to support not just the NYPD, but the police everywhere. And I saw someone was saying the other day, someone who's a cop, my brother-in-law actually, was saying, I'm seeing now who my true friends are in this climate of cop hate. And what I keep emphasizing is that, to actually label this as institutionalized racism is folly. And to blame every cop that ends up shooting someone and calling them a murderer is folly too. If you have to make split-second decisions every day of your working life, you're going to get it wrong from time to time. And none of us are perfect. So to expect perfection from a police officer is worrying too. We want them to get it right as often as possible, of course. But I think to expect no margin of error is worrying. Don't worry, Susan. There's a lot of helicopters around where Susan is, so there is a problem with cell phones, etc. But thanks for calling in. Anyway, yes, Chet, the police are the backbone of our country, and where would we be without them? And all of this commentary about defunding, the NYPD and police in other areas too is kind of worrying, to say the least. But have you noticed it's just the liberals that are saying it? You know, they don't want law and order. They don't want there to be this level of support for people, and they want this, softly, pussy-whipped approach to criminals, really. Taking out cash machines from stores and blowing them up with dynamite. I mean, it's a worry for me. So this should be our first guest, Peter Boykin. Welcome back to the show, Peter. How is the world with you?
I'm doing well.
Good. So what, whereabouts I can never remember where you are in the country. Where in the country are you?
North Carolina.
Right. What are things like there? Has there been a lot of rioting there? And how are the police responding?
We're on a curfew in certain areas.
Right. And what time is the curfew?
It was at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
So it's pretty early. They try to do it right before they cut everything off. Our mayor, who's siding with the left, she's taunting everybody as well.
Right, and
online taunting somebody who wants to have a rally to defy those orders, but they'll go after the people on the right, but the left can do whatever they want.
So who is your local mayor, and where do they stand politically? Are they Republican or Democrat?
Nancy is, as far as I'm sure, she's probably a Democrat or she's undecided. I'm not sure.
Right.
I know that she sides more with the left, but then our city is pretty much leftist.
Right. Because it's a problem for a lot of people.
That's a big problem.
Absolutely. It's a problem for a lot of people that they might live in a red state, but their city is blue. So they end up, they're screwed, whatever they do. So I want to just kind of go backwards a little to something I talked about in the preamble introduction for bringing you on. And that was that in the run-up to the 2016 election, you fundraised and paid for several billboards to support President Trump. Tell us a little bit about that. How much did you raise and how many billboards were you able to pay for?
Let's see. We did, it was 4 billboards.
Right.
I believe it was 4 billboards. And basically just raised them by, people who are interested in what we were doing. We had a major backer that helped us out, and he helped get a lot of the funding for it. And besides that, though, I pretty much was able to, negotiate and get a good deal for them.
Right.
This was before the blimp billboards and things that they have now, which would have been a lot cheaper.
Right.
This was solid digital billboards at the time.
And how much does it cost to have a billboard? Because advertising isn't cheap, is it?
At that time, because of their political things, for each, like over $1,000 for each billboard.
Wow.
So I had 2 in North Carolina and 2 in Orlando.
Right.
Yeah, so it was pretty neat to have something like that available for people to be able to to get it out there.
Absolutely. So, like myself, you are a former Democrat and you are openly gay. What made you switch parties?
switch parties. Well, I never really was a Democrat, so I never was a registered Democrat.
No.
So I just was more undecided after spending so many years, trying to tell people on the left that they weren't doing things proper. I mean, I liked Bill Clinton at the time, but did not, it was a different party back then.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Whole lot different party back then. That brings the classical liberal that believed in free speech and believed in helping people, stuff like that. That's much different than what's going on right now.
Oh, for sure.
The Democratic Party is now full of leftists, and leftism is extremism.
Right.
And that extremism is a major problem with what's going on, which is the reason why I did an organization we called Go Right. And it's not just telling people to go to the Republican Party, it's telling people to think right. Think right, do right, be right.
Right.
And move more towards a right way of thinking, which means you don't have to so-called walk away from the Democratic Party, because I do believe in a multi-party system. You have to actually think more clearly about making your party better. So if we can get more people to go bring the Democratic Party back to how it was, which was more towards the center, as the Republican Party has moved more towards the center. I don't know why they keep saying everybody's far right when we're actually more moderate than anything. We're very middle ground. And if you have both parties working together, then things will be done a lot quicker.
But
so, you've got to have some disagreement, but from
yeah,
there
but,
you also have to have some compromise. Nothing's
right.
getting done right now.
But do you think that is a viable possibility, given the fact that the Democrats are basically communists now? 20 years ago, the Democrat Party was a totally different organization, but now they've turned into something even I don't recognize. Is it beyond our reach to actually get the Democrats back to a point where they are at least approachable?
I mean, we should be encouraging people, like the nice lady who took the hydrochlorine and still saved herself. She listened to Trump. She's still a Democrat, and she, I talked to her on the phone. I was actually surprised. I called her. I thought I would get her office. It was on a Sunday, and actually she called me back, and I was like, whoa, And I told her, I said, I hope that maybe you can, if you don't, I'm sure everybody's probably wooing each other to try to come over to the Republican Party, but if you still feel like you're a Democrat, that's fine with me. Maybe you can change your party.
Right.
To a party that can be more sensible, that we can communicate with. And I thought about the Go Right thing. So I was like, of course, if you want to come to Republican Party, that'd be great. But most of the time, people who've been bullied, and they become more on the right because they've seen what's really going on. I mean, imagine that video the other day where the two kids are like giving the thumbs up to the Antifa people, and then they start smashing in their windows. They start yelling out, "Hey, we're with you, we're with you." Yeah, maybe you're going to learn really quickly. They don't care.
No.
I don't understand how white people are apparently kneeling to black people for solidarity and stuff, but in honesty, it's not going to do any good. Because as much as they claim that we're racist because we see the color of their skin, they see white people and they don't care.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing. There's so many of them that it's become a racial warfare, and it's not reverse racism. I've toasted before. I said, yeah, America is a racist nation. It's just not what the way racism you think it is. And that's the sad thing about it.
So what do you...
We should have been able to get past all this stuff. These generations of, like right now, these kids, they can't look at their parents and say their parents was in the 50s and 60s. Their parents were like my age. They were in the 80s and the 90s, where we were doing nothing but, black culture and getting involved in the Cosby Show and all those different shows on TV, and there should be no reason for this racism that's going on. I mean, it's pretty sad, but, the one to complain about is Barack Obama. When Barack Obama took office, we thought, we got a black president. We'll finally have race relations. This is wonderful.
Good luck with that.
It seemed to go backwards.
But he didn't.
And it didn't help that president, Barack Obama, perpetuated the hatred. I remember the statements he said multiple times. They didn't bother what he did and what his Vice President Biden did. But now it seems like every time Donald Trump just says anything, they're parading what he's saying, or he's holding the Bible outside of a church, and it just absolutely makes no sense. Yet they're not going to talk at all about what Al Sharpton did today, talking about that at a church ceremony, making that more of a political statement.
Right.
And that was just awful. That disintegrated the whole idea of turning that into a political stance, a partisan stance, but then claiming you don't want to talk about it, but you brought it up. I mean, that's a problem.
Absolutely. Now, do you think that the left self-perpetuates a lot of the racism? Because the things that have been going on in the past couple of days have not enamored the white members of the community to actually want to try and make things work with black members of the community because of the sheer idiocy of their behavior.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of cover-ups too. I mean, we've got, what Joe Biden just said last week was, that's what they really should be rioting about. Joe Biden last week saying you ain't black unless you vote for Biden.
Yeah.
Imagine if Trump had went on Fox and Friends that morning and said, well, you're not white unless you voted for Trump.
Yeah.
So he'd be raised to hell.
Yeah.
But you got Joe Biden saying what he said. You got Hillary Clinton saying, I'm no more tired. Let me pull the hot sauce out of my pocket. As they try to appeal to black people, in black culture, they actually become even more racist. They might as well be giving out watermelons at their convention because that's how they are.
But they
Democratic plantation.
Right, but they are
Democratic
placating.
plantation is nothing but racist. They live on racism. They live on actual identity politics, real identity politics.
But they are placating the bad behavior of the black community right now, aren't they? I know it's white people out there rioting too, but to actually say, oh well, when a black person has been killed, you have to expect a little bit of rioting and looting. Why do you have to expect a little bit of rioting and looting? I'm all for peaceful protest, protest because it is a civil right to do so. But there's no civil right to rioting and looting.
Yeah, I mean, you have the right to freedom of peaceful assembly. Peaceful assembly. Now, if they were out there at Lafayette Park the other day, peacefully assembling and not burning up a church or spray painting the bathrooms outside there and knocking and messing up with all over, then there would be then I could see there would be an excuse. Oh, Donald Trump removed this. But Lafayette Park, I've tried to do multiple rallies there. They have a lot of strict rules there, and the biggest thing is if Donald Trump comes through and wants to come through, the park has to be cleared. Now, I can say that I feel bad about some of the ways that they did disperse the crowd. I did see a video of an officer going a little too far where he basically knocked the cameraman, and then he saw the cameraman, and then he punched the cameraman. I'm like, that's a little bit excessive. That was excessive force. So, I mean, we're talking about excessive force. Now, they say they didn't use tear gas, but they were getting rowdy. They were getting crazy. But I think that the cops themselves, even with the removal, they need to understand that they're removing forcefully, but they've got to pay attention to what they're doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But don't
they
you
were
think...
just swinging.
For sure.
And that was not good. I mean, you get the camera people sitting on the side videotaping, and they come around the corner and start basically just punching. And that's not good. That's not a good thing for the police to be doing.
But don't you think
they
that
cleared the park out?
But don't you think that the police are frustrated right now because they've been told to do the softly, softly approach? And in real terms, what these people are doing is committing crimes and being violent and attacking the police. And they're supposed to just stand there whistling and saying, oh, nothing going on here, nothing to see. But how long should police officers have to put up with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're ticked off because they work their butts off, every day, and then get treated like crap. I mean, just because there's one bad cop, and everybody agreed it was one bad cop, and he honestly did something. It was, and that you could see, but we also look into the story that the man worked with him at another club, so obviously there's something more to it.
Yeah.
Something definitely more to it. He had a personal grudge against the guy. He recognized the guy. But again, we don't know what was said.
No.
When George Floyd, got out of the car, maybe he yelled at the guy, "I have Corona," or "Screw you," or whatever, and maybe that started it. Who knows? We don't know the full story. Now, at the same time, the guy wasn't treated very good. When the guy says he's not breathing and you've got him sedated, why are you continuing to press his neck down? Then when supposedly the people come to help him, they were not EMT people. Those were other fellow cops. They all were responsible because they just threw him in the back of a vehicle.
Right.
You could see his head just dangling around. That's not how they support people on the ground.
No.
When they get there, they usually put their head in a stick. They put a thing on a stretcher. They start doing compression pushes. They do CPR. It's a possibility the man could have still lived. But no, this guy it's not premeditated or whatever, who knows. But I do agree with, now I agree with Candace a little bit. We celebrate too much about a man, and yeah, he was murdered, but he wasn't a saint.
No.
And what ticks me off is people like Chris Beatty, Patrick Underwood, David Dorn, Max Brewer. All of these were, black men who were also police. And these honorable men, 3 of those were killed by the so-called protesters just this last week. One of them is still in the hospital.
Exactly.
And we all saw David Dorn. He died in the street with blood running out of his back.
Yeah.
And so what gets me is when they say justice for Floyd, I'm trying to figure out where's this justice for Dorn.
Right.
And
For
I'll
sure.
agree with them. Black Lives Matter.
Right.
No justice, no peace.
But
there is no justice and no peace. If
right.
there's no justice for Dorn, there is no peace. So why are we not raising hell about that?
Because
it doesn't fit the narrative.
Because Captain Dorn was probably killed by a black guy, and we know the narrative is that black lives only matter if the black person's killed by a white person or a cop. We've got to leave it there, but I hope you'll come back and join us again very soon. Peter, tell people where they can find you and where they can listen to your show.
Yeah, you can go on GoRightNews.com. You can find me on Facebook. And if you want to come see me in person on June 14th, we're going to be in Washington, D.C., marching at a rally called the Great American Revival.
Wonderful.
It's a unity rally. We'll be meeting on Trump's birthday in D.C., and I don't know what kind of people will show up because a lot of people are hating the fact we're going to do it, but we need peace. And I've had this planned anyway for a long time. We planned to troll the LGBT gays, but then they canceled, so we're just doing some people.
Absolutely.
And marching, and got a good amount of people coming already.
Wonderful. We have to leave it there, but thank you so much, Peter Boykin. Make sure you check him out at Go Right News. Thanks a lot, brother. Have a great week.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye. That was Peter Boykin from Go Right News. Make sure you go check him out. So my next guest is a regular on our show, Chet Martin, the anchor from Freedom on Deck, dropping by very soon to break down some of the white hot topics from today, not to be confused with our shared white guilt, which I'm sure we will be talking about. Also, because all white people have got white guilt. Apparently, I don't have any. And I don't have any white privilege either. And I won't apologize for being white. I won't apologize for being a Christian. And anybody that expects me to do that, ta-ta, ducky, to steal a phrase from my mother. Susan says, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, chat, I lived on the top of the towers downtown, and I wonder what Bush had to do with it. I think we all do. Jane says, let me smell and find out first. I wonder if that's a Biden reference. CV is saying, my client's son died yesterday, and I wonder if these riots had anything to do with it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I am going to call Chet because for some reason he's been having problems with the Skype stuff. So my next guest, I'm going to call him now, Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Are you all right there, brother?
I'm here.
I thought you were, I was a bit worried about you. I was going to get the Kleenex out because you sounded a little bit emotional in the live feed.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. I was just, just thinking about, our police and everything. My grandfather was a cop, as I've said many times, and I never was actually able to meet him. But, just his record and what he did in Korea. And, he told my dad, who was his son-in-law, my father wasn't his son, but they were very close. And he said the worst things that he ever saw during his service weren't when he was in Korea, and wasn't when he's actually in both WW2 and Korea, but it was when he was a New York City police officer. So everybody needs to remember that these guys see things that we can't imagine, finding dead children and women that are raped and horrible, horrible things, especially in New York City, as you know. And we just have to keep that. We have to keep that in mind.
We do, because blue lives matter too. Blue lives bleed too, and I think that we are not protecting our police right now, and certain people. In fact, I'm going to name him and shame him. Bill De Blasio and Andrew Cuomo are putting a target on the police's back, and I hope the unions are going to come down on them harshly very quickly. So I want to jump right into the first topic. If I can find the right mouse. So retired Marine Jim Mad Dog Mattis, who resigned as President Trump's Secretary of Defense in 2018 before he could be fired, attacked the Trump administration in a statement on Wednesday, saying he was angry and appalled by President Trump's response to the nation's unrest after the death of George Floyd. Sorry, but I'm actually sick of hearing that name now. Now, Mattis, speaking from Obama's wallet in his ass pocket, said that Trump was distracting from the nation's protest against police by blaming unrest on far-left groups, and slammed the president's decision to visit the historic St. John's Episcopal Church, having said nothing when previous presidents did it, so calling it an abuse of executive authority. Now, he said, when I joined the military some 50 years ago, I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution. He also said, never did I dream that troops taking the same oath would be ordered under any circumstances to violate the constitutional rights, yet turned a blind eye to bury deep state's shenanigans. Now, the former defense secretary said that Trump is the first president in his lifetime who does not try and unite the American people. Where was Mattis during the Obama administration? Off his face on pills? I mean, what do they want from this president? Clearly, he's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't.
Well, it's strange because you remember when President Trump first brought Mattis on, it was, this guy's a bulldog, he's tough, he's very strong with his language. Yeah. You look at some of the things in the media that he said in the past, where he basically says, I'll barbecue you if you're a terrorist. And he has said some really crazy stuff. Yeah. And some of the stuff, when he first came over, I was like, all right, this is the kind of guy we need in there. but something happened along the way, and I think it had to do with the president's decisions when it comes to the Middle East and with ISIS.
Yeah.
Which, by all accounts, he did a great job with ISIS in the Middle East, unlike some of our previous presidents. But something happened with Mattis along the way. He's certainly toxic right now, like you said.
Yeah.
The president went to that church, and if you want to call it a photo op, then call Joe Biden's appearance at the church he went to the same day as a photo op, please, because the president went to this church because it was almost burnt down to the ground.
Yeah.
And Xander, that's the thing that the media always leaves out, is that these people were not there protesting peacefully. They almost burned the damn church down. They said, oh, well, they used tear gas and rubber bullets. I don't care what they use.
No.
If you're trying to burn a church down, you're going to get a pushback from
Right.
our president.
But don't you realize a black guy was killed 9 days ago by a cop? It excuses anything. I'm gonna fly back to the U.S. on Monday and drive my car with my ass out of the window, and do that because 9 days ago a black guy was killed. Now I'm not trying to belittle the fact that a black guy was killed, but what does it not excuse? It's a worry as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it is a worry. And as far as Mr. Mattis goes, I always say I commend the service, but I can't commend the man. Not the way he did this, because he has been spoiled. We'll see what this all turns out to be. But all of a sudden, the Democrats love him. Give me a break. They hated him.
Yeah.
They hated him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's the hero of the day or hero of the moment because everybody gets in line to stop President Trump because he is not one with the New World Order. And we're starting to see that there are more people with their hand in that cookie jar, that NWO cookie jar, than we thought.
Yeah.
That's scary, man.
But don't you think a lot of these people, I suppose I'm not making accusations, I'm questioning. Do you think some of these people are paid to have these positions? Because I do. You can't tell me all of these people have these positions, just because they have them. I believe some of them are paid to have these positions.
Well, listen, man, listen. We have pictures of John McCain with the leader of ISIS.
Yeah.
We have pictures of some of these supposed great American leaders rubbing elbows and providing weaponry to some of our biggest enemies throughout the history of the world. But and they say, well, that's been for doctors. Those are doctors. They're not. They're not. He did. The thing is, if people really open up their eyes and take a look and get outside of that Google bubble, you can find out that most of these terrorist organizations that came into power in the Middle East were because of us. Yeah. And that is scary.
Yeah. Well, there was no ISIS before Barack Obama, and Barack Obama armed ISIS. Yeah. And you can't, nobody can tell me that isn't true. The other thing about, both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, their top advisors were Iranians. I mean, what does that tell you?
Yeah,
I'm not anti-Iranian, but
it is true. I never really even thought about that until I saw that meme you had. I mean, it's scary. That is scary. That's some scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is. And when we see what's going on in the United States now, there is no way that this wasn't contrived. There's no way that this wasn't planned, because they knew they would get to a point where the pandemic would fail, and people would say, well, if you guys can go out and do this, what happened to the coronavirus? It's like, what coronavirus? Because obviously now they can't say we can't go and vote in person because of the coronavirus. If you can go out and loot and steal and throw bricks through cops' cars' windows, you can go and stand online to vote, surely.
Yeah, well, the media tried to play it up and backtrack. We found 22,000 new cases. So now you're telling me we don't have, adequate tests, but we're going out and we're testing all the Antifa members.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know, it's so stupid and all this stuff they make up in the dead of the night, Xander. They come together, all the mainstream media organizations, and Fox is right there too. I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm done with Fox,
I agree.
especially after what I saw today. But they all come up with the same narrative, and then they start to put it out there, and they sprinkle a little here and a little there. Now you have two big events over the last 3-4 months that, you know, is absolutely crippling. And, you know, it was like when we were talking the other night. When you're in the inner city, you're in the black community, you're in the minority community,
right,
and you've been hit, and you've been told by the government you can't open up shop without people wearing masks, or you can't open, period. And then within the next month, you have a bunch of thugs breaking into the building and burn it into the ground.
Yeah.
Those people don't recover.
No.
They
Oh, some businesses will never open again, you know, and in New York City, you know, the people who own the buildings are never going to be able to get the rents for those buildings again, because people are not going to be able to afford to do it. I mean, I pray that New York City will get its mojo back. And I think New Yorkers are very resilient. I mean, look at what happened after 9/11. Everybody rallied around together. But I think we've gone a stage beyond that now. There's no community spirit in New York anymore because the Democrats have divided us so much.
Right, and you know, those evil racist cops ran into those buildings, Xander. Those evil racist cops that ran into those two buildings, those gutless wonders, Democrats basically, that live here in New York and elsewhere, would never even think of going into those buildings. Do you know how many cops probably pulled out black American citizens from those towers?
Yeah. So racist, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, that's how racist they are. But I'm waiting for the NYPD backlash because, you know, the way that they're being treated, you know, they hated de Blasio anyway and have done for many years. You know, I remember them turning their back to him. And you know, they get asked to do these events. They get asked to protect him at these events, and they say no. And you know what? I don't blame them. You know, de Blasio even tried to put something through where they couldn't refuse to guard him if they were asked. Screw that. Why would you want to guard someone that hates you?
That's exactly right. And Donald Trump was in front of the media a few days ago, and he was condemning our mayor and our governor, who are both spineless bastards, excuse my language.
Yeah. And
he was putting the police on a pedestal where they belong when he said, we have the bravest police in New York. We have the bravest police throughout America. They are the best. And they really are. And when he says that they're the backbone of this country, which I agree with 110%, they never have a day off. They don't see their family during the holidays. They, like we were talking about, they witness some of the worst things that you could possibly think of. And President Trump believes in them because he knows they're the best. He's been around them his entire life, and he loves them. And that's the type of leadership we need. And we need to be able to understand that sometimes in these situations, and I'm not condoning with what that guy did because I think he murdered Mr. Floyd, but we have to start figuring out for our police how to deal with the PTSD that they are dealing with every day.
Yeah.
Because de Blasio has never addressed it, Cuomo's never addressed it, and the Democrats don't give a damn.
No. I mean, even Barack Obama this week, you know, finally having a say and saying about the police, I think he was quite disrespectful and, you know, tried to make it out that he wasn't. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if we're not supposed to be seeing color, if you commit a crime, then you should be arrested for that, whether you're black or brown or white or pasty. You know, if you break the law, you break the law. The law should not see color. It should just see the crime that you commit. I don't even think it should see your circumstances because it doesn't change the fact that you've committed a crime. But final thought, chat. where was Barack Obama's sentiment for the African American / black community? I never know from one day to the next what I'm allowed to say without getting into trouble. Where was his concern when he was president for 8 years? What did he do during that term of office to actually assist the black community?
What does he ever do for the black community? He's the community organizer that got people riled up.
Right.
It's not his home state because first of all, I'm not going to get to where I think Barack Obama is from. But when he was serving
Say
in
it,
Chicago, he did nothing. And they all do that. They all get these positions.
Right.
And the first thing they do, Xander, when they get that big check, is they get the hell out of that district because they don't want to deal with what the black and minority communities deal with on a daily basis. They don't care about them.
No. You can say he was the first gay Kenyan president. I won't penalize you for saying that because I've said similar myself.
You hit the nail on the head. You did it for me then.
Yeah, for sure. And I just hope that if they put Michelle, because we all know that Joe Biden is a placeholder, but I hope that if they put Michelle into the running for president, that they administer the sex test, because at least we should know what we're dealing with, surely.
Boy, that is a frightening thought, isn't it? I mean, here's the woman, man, transgender, first transgender.
First lady.
First dude that we ever had. But you remember, it's the first time she was ever proud of her country.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to put that thing in the highest office of the United States?
Right.
The sad part is we're there. That's the sad part, is we're there.
Yeah. CV just made a really interesting point in the live feed. He said Obama was and still is a community agitator. I would agree 200%.
Absolutely.
I actually hope and pray that with all of this documentation that's been released lately, with what they've been talking about this week about the fact that he misused FISA warrants, I hope that there's going to be some criminal proceedings that come along as a result of that. I mean, I doubt it because, Hillary, they all walk away so squeaky clean, but wouldn't that be great to be able to actually prosecute Barack Obama for his administrative errors? Well, it's criminality, really. It's not really an error, is it? Because spying on Donald Trump, which they all said, "Ooh, Donald Trump again saying bullshit like this." It's provable now that Barack Obama spied on Donald Trump when he was a private citizen. So that something needs to be done about it.
Oh, absolutely. One of the shows that comes on before Freedom on Deck on the station, a gentleman by the name of Gordon Vidal, and he's a famed attorney. He knows a lot of folks in the FBI and the DOJ, as a matter of fact. And he has personally told me, and this, take it for what you want.
Right.
Everybody listening right now, that there are arrests coming, that they do have Andrew McCabe in some written testimony that Durham got, that admitted to all the crimes that happened under Barack Obama, that we will see James Comey in handcuffs in the next year or so, and that there are going to be some arrests made. Will we get Obama? Probably not, but you're going to get some pretty big fish. And the best thing about the whole thing is we can finally tell Democrats that say it's scandal-free, even though we tell them it's not anyway, that they're full of you-know-what.
Yeah.
Because once those arrests happen, then they're going to feel it, bro.
Brilliant.
Then they're going to feel it.
It's like TikTok Baz, TikTok Jim, bring your own popcorn because I really hope something comes from this. Because I do expect the same standard from Donald Trump. If I thought Donald Trump had been doing things during his term of office that were criminal, I would want him to be equally prosecuted, because it's about doing the right thing, regardless if it's our guy or not.
Yeah, they just took all the crimes that the Democrats, Hillary and Barack Obama committed, and said Donald Trump did them. You notice that's always the case. The Democrats and the media love to throw shade on Trump and his presidency.
Exactly.
And try to convict him over crimes that he never committed, and it ends up being them. They're the ones that did it.
Right.
But that's called being Goebbels. You know, you
Yeah.
reflect your own criminal activities onto your enemy.
Exactly. You accuse the other
That's
side
what
of
they
what
do.
you're doing and deflect from the fact that you actually did it. Tell us who you've got on the show this weekend, Chet.
Well, this weekend we have Brian Bledsoe from Trend Chat, and the second guest I don't have in front of me. I'm really sorry. Oh, Michael Bustler, Dr. Michael Bustler is coming on. So we're going to talk about, you know, the coronavirus and why all of a sudden, now that we have riots everywhere, it's gone. It's no longer here. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
Just make sure he doesn't
Yeah.
cough all over you. Mike, I don't suppose it would matter over the phone, would it? So remind people, so it's Sunday, 3 till 5, and I could never remember the name of your...
It's 94.9 News Now.
94 News Now and Stimulating Chat.
Stimulating Talk.
Stimulating
Just
Talk.
Remember,
Yeah.
in Long Island we say talk, so that's how you can remember.
Talk.
Of course,
Talk.
most of your audience isn't listening in Long Island, Connecticut. So at 3 o'clock on Sunday, you just go to freedomondeck.com.
Yes.
You hit Listen Live and CV's got it there, nice, big, and bright, and it's easy to find. And you click it, and you listen for 2 hours. You listen to what we have to say, and you form your own opinions on the information that we give you.
Yeah, absolutely. Only the best on Freedom on Deck and the best guests. And, you know, that's why I am on there quite often, too.
That's right.
And you'll be with us twice next week. We're very lucky. But listen, have a wonderful weekend. Give my best to your family, Chet, and we will speak to you. I'm sure you'll be calling in tomorrow night because you've always got something to add to the show for us.
I'll harass you. And before I go, I just
Sure.
want to let you know we've got a lot of great feedback from you appearing on the show, and you always do a fantastic
Brilliant.
knockout.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to come on. Being an honorary Connecticut, I think that's how you put it, because I lived in Connecticut for a few years before I came to the UK. So thank you very much. Chet Martin, the anchor from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check out the show and check out freedomondeck.com. But for now, thank you so much, Chet Martin.
Thank you, Xander. Keep it up.
Thanks a lot, brother. Take care.
Bye.
That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check him out. Thank you to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thank you to my brain has died. Peter Boykin from Go Right News. Make sure you check him out too and go and check out his show. Very commendable what he did. Let's hope he's going to raise some money for some billboards again this time, because the president is going to need as much help as he can get this time. Janie says, I was listening to his show and my friend was walking and heard Stimulating Talk, and now she is a fan, even though she thought it was something different. Okay, let's not go there. I'm not talking about stimulation on this show. I don't want to get into trouble. Not had your fill of the Gibster. You can join me tomorrow night. You really, really can. 5 nights a week. Monday to Friday, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 1 in the UK, and 12 o'clock down there in Australia the next day. On tomorrow's show, Dr. Gerard Lamiro and Swoop from Swoop's World will be joining us. Stay safe out there, and I really do love you all. Thanks to everybody in the live feed. Say and gay. Just stop talking about me, dude. Please click the share button before you go if you haven't already. And we will be back with you same time, same place tomorrow. And you know what, guys? I really do love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were ever bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no risk.
bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show